Trax is sponsored by Polaris, think outside. Can-Am, time for some off-road living. And by Yamaha, revs your heart.
Today I have a couple very important questions that are in need of answering, and the first one is this. Just how fast do you need to go when you're hauling around 3 of your friends? And the second is this. Is there such a thing as too much when it comes to sport side-by-sides? Because there is one sport side-by-side in the industry that inspires questions like these more than any other. Words like excessive, overkill, ridiculous, and of course, awesome follow this thing around like flies. It's literally the only thing people can think to say when they feast their eyes on the industry's most powerful and second most expensive side-by-side. Now I say second because there is actually one model above the Ultimate, the Troy Lee Special Edition, that does cost more, but it's only available in limited numbers. I think this brings about a good point though that I already know a bunch of you are just fuming over. Yes, this vehicle does cost as much and in some cases even more than a small pickup truck or a Jeep. And yes, it is crazy that the side-by-side industry has evolved to a place where we have units with this kind of a price tag. But it's also a really good thing we do. Flagship vehicles like this one are not meant and were never meant to be for the masses. Vehicles like this are an exercise in proving what is possible when it comes to sport side-by-side design and performance. It's because of vehicles like these that we have more affordable units like the new RZR XP. So instead of getting uptight about the price, just appreciate that the trickle-down effect is a real thing and that no one is forcing you to buy at this level. Let's get back to our original questions. Just how fast do you and 3 of your buddies actually need to go? And that's a really dumb question because the answer is, of course, always faster. And the Pro R4's 2-liter, 225 horsepower ProStar Fury 4-cylinder engine will put the trust your friends have in your driving abilities to the test. Is this a fast side-by-side? No, not even close. It is stupid fast, but more than that, it's stupid quick, which is a very different thing. It doesn't just go fast, it gets there fast too. With no turbo, power is immediate and perfectly linear. It also feels bottomless, meaning it feels like there's no end to it. All of this translates into a vehicle that is just begging to be driven mostly with the throttle. With its drive-by-wire throttle to be specific, something a manufacturer can get either very right or very wrong. In this case, Polaris has designed a drive-by-wire throttle that feels exactly like a cable throttle, which is great, but it also allows for multiple drive modes. The 3 modes are Sport, Rock, and Race. Now, Sport is where I spend 90% of my time, and it's perfect for the kind of driving that I do. Rock is actually perfectly named because it's tuned exactly how you'd want it to be for rock crawling or other slow crawling situations. And Race, well, honestly it is more aggressive, but it doesn't feel a lot different than Sport, at least not in my opinion. Suspension is equally as impressive, with 22 and 24 inches of front and rear actual wheel travel damped by a set of Fox X2 Live Valve 3.0 shocks, controlled by Polaris's DYNAMIX DV programming with comfort, rock, track, and Baja settings. You can have a ride that's incredibly plush and smooth when you want it, and a ride that's stiff and keeps the chassis flat during cornering when you need it. Honestly, you can corner this side-by-side harder than any other 4-seater on the market thanks to DYNAMIX DV. It just makes the vehicle feel so planted and stable. It inspires hero levels of confidence. The 4 different suspension settings have names, but in reality, you're going to use them however you see fit. I mean, not everybody lives in Baja. I find I use comfort for most trail riding scenarios and track for most high-speed scenarios. The suspension settings are adjusted by the touch screen or by these steering wheel mounted buttons right here, which is highly convenient, as are the other steering wheel buttons that control your gauge, volume, and of course that magic red button is still there, providing 3 seconds of 100% compression damping when a surprise crater or washout comes out of nowhere.
Dirt Trax is sponsored by Hercules Tire. Ride on our strength.
In terms of comfort and amenities, the Pro R4 Ultimate has pretty much all the bases covered. These high-back, well-bolstered bucket seats are comfortable and extremely adjustable, and they include retractable 6-point harnesses installed right from the factory. If you love your tunes while you're riding, no problem. The Ultimate comes equipped with a Rockford Fosgate Stage 2 audio setup controlled right from the center-mounted 7-inch ride command display. Want to know where you're going or be able to see where others in your group are? Just open the GPS mapping app and set up a group ride. Ride Command is a really impressive piece of technology that really encompasses all aspects of a ride in one easy-to-use interface. Once you've had it, you'll never want to be without it. Another interesting and useful thing Polaris has done with the Pro series of RZRs is to make the rear seat area more useful when you don't have any passengers. Simply pull out the quick release seat backs and fold over the seat bottoms. You've got a flat cargo area with integrated tie-downs. Polaris offers a bunch of lock and ride accessories specifically designed to fit this space as well. A vehicle capable of this much speed and this much cornering precision is going to need a tire and wheel package to match. And I think Polaris got this aspect of the Pro R4 seater 80% correct. You're going to find 32-inch Maxxis Rampage Fury tires at all 4 corners, which is awesome. We found these tires to be super versatile and tough while also providing confidence-inspiring handling traits, but they're wrapped around 15-inch non-beadlock wheels. I've said this before, Polaris's 15-inch aluminum wheels look great, but a vehicle this big and heavy with this much power really should come with a set of beadlocks, especially in the Ultimate trim package. It just makes sense. Braking is handled by the most powerful brake setup in the industry. A set of triple bore calipers up front and double bore calipers out back squeezing aluminum top hat style rotors provide all the stopping power you could ever need, but they also provide excellent brake feel and feedback. There are only 3 trim levels for the Pro R4: Premium, Ultimate, and Troy Lee Special Edition. The only difference between the Premium and the Ultimate is DYNAMIX DV. Everything else is the same, including the aluminum roof. The price increase to move to the Ultimate is $3,300 US or $3,900 Canadian. When you step up to the Troy Lee, you get a long list of additional upgrades that raise the price by an additional $5,000 US or $7,400 Canadian. In my opinion, the base or premium model is an incredibly impressive side-by-side that offers unmatched levels of performance in the industry. DYNAMIX DV is not a cheap upgrade, but does improve the overall comfort and performance even further by a sizable amount. The Troy Lee upgrade is big bucks, and in reality, you're not getting anything that's going to make your overall riding experience better. But if your ego's looking for an upgrade, there's no better way to do it than that bright blue Troy Lee edition. So in reality, who is this side-by-side really for? Well, there's the obvious, I gotta have the most of everything but want to bring my friends and family along group. Then there's the guys who want to dune ride with the family but can't afford to spend or just don't want to spend the money to buy a full-blown sandrail. And of course there's the guys who actually do ride hard enough to take advantage of all the performance and capability the Pro R4 Ultimate offers, and they just so happen to have friends or family members who either trust them implicitly or simply don't have any fear whatsoever. Honestly, I can't think of a better side-by-side for any of these people. Right now, the Pro R is the most powerful and most capable pure sport side-by-side in the industry.
Trail Tech is sponsored by Princess Auto. Make it work.
We've been using Superclamp products to secure our ATVs and side-by-sides when it's warm out and our snowmobiles when it's cold out for many years. We trust them to be safe, tough, and work exactly as advertised, and they have never let us down. The list of products they sell is long and covers nearly every aspect of tying down your expensive toys. One of the things we like most about Superclamp is that they're always identifying weaknesses with current securement products and developing new and better ways to hold our toys to our trailers and our vehicles. Their latest product solves one of the most obvious issues with securing your ATV or side-by-side. The straps getting loose and tight as your vehicle's suspension compresses when you drive over bumps and dips in the road. For decades, the most common way to secure your off-road vehicle was to hook straps around the suspension or the chassis and crank down hard. But no matter how much tension you put on the straps, your suspension would never be fully compressed. And in reality, you don't want it to be, as it would cause damage to your suspension components. Even using seemingly reasonable amounts of tension to compress your suspension can have damaging effects over time. The most dangerous aspect of tying your vehicle down this way is that if the straps ever became so loose they came right off, you would be driving with an unsecured vehicle, and that's something you never want to do. Superclamp now offers a product that solves this problem entirely. Their ATV UTV Tie-Down Strap kit doesn't fasten to the chassis of your off-road vehicle at all. It fastens around the tire, holding the unsprung part of your ATV or side-by-side, so there's never any chance that the straps can come loose as the suspension compresses. This is how cars have been held down on flat deck trailers for years, and it works fantastic. It is the safest possible way to hold down your off-road vehicle. It's also incredibly simple to do. The ATV UTV Tie-Down Strap Kit comes with everything you need to secure one vehicle: 4 straps, 4 heavy-duty ratchets with rubber-coated handles, and a set of 4 4-inch long deck hooks. And while you can definitely use the supplied deck hooks, we need a bit more adjustability and versatility, so we're going to mount Superclamp's Trax to the deck of our trailer instead. By using the Trax, we can adjust our anchor position forward and back depending on which vehicle we need to haul. Installation is simple. You need to figure out where you want to position your vehicle on the trailer, then measure 3 to 4 inches out from the outermost edge of the tire and slightly forward and back from the front and rear edges of the front and rear tires. If you're using the included deck hook, simply drill a hole and secure the hook in this location. If you're using Trax like we are, simply position the center of the appropriate length of Trax right where your mark is and fasten it down properly. On a trailer as long as ours, we're going to install 3 sections of Trax down each side of the trailer in the most common spots for side-by-side wheels to end up when loaded. If you have more reasonable length trailer, you could install the Trax down the full length of your trailer on both sides for unlimited strap mounting locations. Once your mounting points are installed, using the straps is extremely easy. You simply make a loop, kind of like a lasso, by feeding the free end of the strap through the D-ring that's mounted on the opposite end. Wrap this loop around your tire and adjust it so it's far enough down the tire that it won't slip off when you tighten, but not so far that it can slide over the tire. Position the D-ring slightly ahead or behind the middle of the wheel, then feed the free end of the strap through the ratchet. Attach the ratchet to your anchor point and tighten. You want to tighten the strap enough that it slightly compresses the tire. Once this is done, you simply repeat the procedure at all 4 corners and you're all set. The difference in using this tie-down system is immediately noticeable when you start towing. The vehicle will move up and down through its travel more than you may be used to, but the straps will never sag or loosen. The added confidence this gives you as the person who's doing the towing can't be understated. You no longer have to pull over at every rest stop to make sure the tension of your straps is correct, or worse, find that one of your straps has fallen completely off. If you're looking for the safest and most secure way to secure your side-by-side or ATV while towing, Superclamp's ATV UTV Tie-Down Strap Kit is it. Make sure you check out their website for more information.
Dirt Trax has been sponsored by Kawasaki. Let the good times roll. MBRP Performance Exhaust, built for the victory lap. And by Mad Ramps. Leave the trailer and go.
We get lots of letters and emails from you, our viewers, people who are extremely passionate about ATVs and who have really interesting stories. One of the most interesting stories that we've had come across our desks is Hunter Lovelace, a guy who actually lives only an hour from our offices and has an extremely interesting collection of sport ATVs. This guy's passionate about sport ATVs, and we thought you'd like to learn a little bit more about him.
I got my first machine when I was like 4 years old. Santa brought me a 2001 Polaris Scrambler, little 50cc. That's what kind of started my whole dream with the whole machines. Rode it for many, many years. Slowly started growing into larger machines, but mostly the Polaris Scrambler is what started it all.
Well, it did all start with a Scrambler 90. Things progressed quickly, and Hunter's next ATV purchase was one of the most iconic ATVs in the entire industry.
I bought
an 86 250R that came out of Michigan.
Is that this one?
That is this one.
So this is the actual, your first 250R?
Yes, I ended up with this, and of course being a 1986, even in 2013 or 14, it was still rough. So then that's what got me into actually restoring the machines and going through them from the frame up.
None of this stuff I would put in the category of like mainstream. I mean, maybe other than the Banshee.
A Banshee.
But like everything else is pretty kind of fringe, like unique. Basically, the only ATV here that you have that's like, there's lots of them out there. It's the one that's super weird.
If you ever ride a Banshee, it's cool. It's a different experience.
I've tried to trail ride a Banshee through the mud and it was awful.
Yeah, they're not much of a trail.
But on a dune or like on a fire road, they were so good.
It always puts a smile on my face for sure.
So now we got a Cannondale down here.
Yep, this is a 2003 Cannondale Cannibal, 440 liquid cooled 4-stroke, all aluminum frame. Pretty well how they came from factory, aside from a few subtle mods thrown at it. Basically made it more rider friendly. My girlfriend actually rides this. I consider this hers. It's actually easy for her to ride because it's got so much power. It has so much low end grunt. That's what these Cannondales were known for. She's never in a predicament where she doesn't have enough power to get up any hills. So
Speaking of never running out of power, this thing.
This one you'll never run out of power.
This I think honestly of all the bikes you have here, this is the one that just draws me immediately because I've only ever seen one in my whole life.
Yeah, this is an 87 Suzuki Quadzilla 500 liquid cooled. 500
two-stroke
cc single.
Hold on tight.
I personally haven't done anything to this machine. When it was new, obviously somebody put a set of Works front shocks on it, an FMF exhaust, but pretty well just kind of left it the way it was. So.
Cool. Now over here is probably one of the more modern bikes you've got.
100%. It's a 2011 Can-Am DS 450, but it's not just a standard DS 450. It came from the Warnert race team.
Oh, okay.
So it was a Warnert race bike that was ridden by Chris Bithell in the 2011 GNCC season. And this is in complete race trim, right down to the transponder. And this is one that I can't bring myself to restore at all, because this is how it came off the line.
Yeah, like restoring a race bike is kind of weird because it's been built the way it's been built for a reason.
Exactly. Yeah, if you've ever seen a GNCC race, they are not ridden gently.
Well, let's head outside and you can show us the rest of your fleet.
Sounds good.
So this is another one that looks very not stock.
No, this one isn't stock at all. This is it's a Cannondale. A lot of people would look at it and either think it's a highly modified 400EX or a 250R hybrid, but it's not. It's a Cannondale. This one's got a big bore engine in it. It's got a 467 stroker, ported head, big valves, big cam.
Cool.
Back about 10 years ago, it actually was on a dyno and it made about 55 horse to the rear wheels. So I would say, safe to say, with what I have, I've done a few modifications since then, it would be close to the 60 horsepower mark. It works good. There's some scratches and some dings and bumps on it, but hey.
It's a rider.
It's a rider.
This one looks like it was a rider at some point too.
Yeah, it is, and it's another Cannondale. That one's a Cannondale Moto, which they only made a few Cannondale Motos. They weren't made for many years altogether, and they only made like 250.
And this was the one they built for motocross racing.
Correct.
Like it came with no headlights. Like this.
Correct.
This is an aftermarket.
This is, and there are some modifications that have been done with this. It gets pushed around with having so many machines and only so much time.
Yeah.
You can't do everything. Because that's the big thing. Like, I'll think something's a great idea. I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. And then a couple months down the road, it's like, yeah, you know what? Maybe I'm going to change that up a little bit and do that. But that's the fun in it.
Speaking of things to distract you, then we've got this bike here. Which...
Yep. Yeah, I just picked this up, actually. It's a 2008 Polaris 450 Outlaw MXR. And when I mean I just picked this up, I actually just picked this up last night. No word of a lie. I haven't even washed it yet. I haven't even ridden it. I haven't even rode it because when I went and looked at it, I didn't need to ride it because the condition in itself just showed it. Because the guy asked me, he says, do you want to take it for a ride? I'm like, nah, I'm okay. It's truly a one owner 450 MXR. When I bought it, I actually got all the dealer paperwork for it.
Oh, that's cool.
So the original owner's manual, CD, all the original tools, spark plug tool.
Nice.
It was pretty cool. That sort of spare key. So when you get that baggie handed to you, it's almost like buying a brand new one. Yeah, it'll be fun to see.
Cool.
Trax.
Well, I'd be interested to hear what you think of it after riding it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So last but not least, obviously, is this guy's clean too.
Yeah, it's my 2006 Suzuki LTR 450. I mean, it's, in my eyes, it's dirty right now because I just got back from Silver Lake Sand Dunes with it. The comfort, the rider position on it was very nice, and the power was smooth and it worked well. If you have an old machine that's sitting in your backyard in a shed, there is still hope. Pull that machine out, and like, there's nothing that can't be fixed, especially with the amount of people that are parting machines out. There's parts kicking around. At the end of the day, with the manufacturers not making this stuff anymore, if you can make something super, super cool and you can stand back at it and say, I did that, I mean, that says a lot.